And there's no other golf tournament that is conducted at such a level and under such mannerly scrutiny as Augusta National, as the Masters. It is my favorite sports event. The Kentucky Derby is second, the British Open's third, but the Masters will always be number one.
Furman Bisher began covering the Masters in 1949.
Well, I stumbled into it the first time. I was traveling with a minor league baseball team, and they were playing a game in Augusta, and I just drove out to Augusta National. You could drive in those days, and spent 2 days out there because I was coming to Atlanta 2 weeks later to take over as sports editor of the Constitution.
I think it's fair to say that there is no institution at Augusta National like Furman Bisher. He's been one of those most responsible for growing this small little tournament that started in the early and mid 1930s into the world-class sporting event that it is today.
Being at Augusta National and being at the press room there where Furman, there was no doubt about who the lead dog was in the press room at Augusta National. It was Furman Bisher, because he started going to the Masters before any of us were even born. And he knows the sport, and he knew every nuance of that golf course.
One thing you have to appreciate is that he did a lot of studying. I mean, he just didn't write just to be writing. When he wrote about something, I would say almost 99% of the time it was true. You know, I mean, he did his research. He knew exactly what was going on, you know, and he didn't take no for an answer. You know, I don't know of anybody, really, to be honest with you, that handled a pen as thoroughly as he did.
I think he understands how to tie generations together when he writes. Here's what's important about this story. Here's what's relevant to the past, and here's what's important to remember going into the future. And I don't think very few writers do that today. He makes you laugh, he makes you cry, he makes you think. He gives you the full range of emotions in sports writing.
Follow your emotions, and if it tells you to blow off some steam, do so. If it tells you to praise your subject, do so. You don't establish your own mood. The event you're watching establishes your mood.
Of all the triumphant sporting events he's covered across the decades, there's one memory that wasn't played out by an athlete, but by the president of the International Olympic Committee, Juan Antonio Samaranch, in 1990.
I think the most vivid memory of my entire career was sitting in that salon in a hotel in Tokyo, and Samaranch going to the microphone and taking the microphone and saying, "Ladies and gentlemen,
the 1996 Olympic Games to the city of Atlanta."
I couldn't believe it. Atlanta was going to get the Olympics. What a wonderful, ecstatic moment that was. And I had to write a column in about 30 minutes.
One of Bisher's greatest exclusives is his interview of Shoeless Joe Jackson of the infamous Chicago Black Sox, who talked for the first time about the World Series scandal of 1919.
And we sat in his front yard in his outdoor furniture, and we talked for the better part of the day. I wrote the story, then drove back from Charlotte and got his signature on it, and he got $250 for the story, and I got $250 for writing it, and we both needed the money.
It's not only what Bisher wrote that's legendary, but also what he used for decades to write with.
Well, my old typewriter is preserved. It was a Ralph McGill typewriter, and he had this old Royal typewriter, a new Royal typewriter actually, it was a 1948 model. And so I wrote my first column right off the top of my head, and I still have the old typewriter upstairs, but the trouble I have with it now is finding ribbons for it.
Furman Bisher, sports reporter, columnist, editor, and author since 1938.